Welcome to Artists We Love. My name is Okiba Jaballo, and I am here with Monica Tooks. And we're very excited about this new series on YBE TV. And basically what we're doing is we are bringing super talented people, black people of color, to you. And some of y'all may be familiar with these brands and may be familiar with, some of these folks, but I really want y'all to be able to get to hear them, because it's one thing to see your artwork, but it's a whole different thing to be able to just have a conversation with you. And a lot of people don't have that type of access to you.
Absolutely.
And everything. So first I want to say thank you for taking time out of your schedule, and you're transitioning from not only being an artist but a gallery owner.
Yes.
Which is a different game.
Absolutely.
And everything. So just give us like a little bit about who you are, where you're from, what you're about.
Well, I'm originally from Biloxi, Mississippi, and I've been painting for as long as I can remember, actually. It's been a long time coming to this point, but I'm definitely connected to the creative realm in a way that grows me the older I get. No matter what I try to do, it always leads me back to that space. So that definitely leads me in my passions and initiatives to connect with other young people and help them realize what they can do with their creative gift.
Okay. So just looking at, I've known of you for a long time, and recently we, were able to actually do something together with the Morehouse piece and everything. Yeah. But I've known of them for a long time and everything. And Atlanta is one of those places where my clique is my clique, your clique is your clique.
Right.
And if we're not in the same gallery, if we're not in the same circles, we can just bypass each other. We may even see each other's work and not necessarily even know who that is. So what's one of the things, like when looking at Atlanta, what do you feel, why here? Why here in Atlanta? Because you could be anywhere else. You could be in New York, you could be in Philly, you can be in California, you can be...
Yes.
Why here?
And I've been offered to be in so many places for many years. My roots run here. My father was from here. And my father passed away my freshman year of college, and my father had a van. He used to work with his hands. He used to lay carpet for a living. He used to take me with him on trips and put the carpet rolls in between me, sit me in the middle. And he used to carry me around with this, I had this Weebles people house that you open up and had the little toys inside, and while he's kicking the carpet up against the wall, he'd put me in the corner, I'd sit down, open up my little house. And it's crazy because I was only about five years old maybe, and I remember it like it was yesterday. But he would just be talking to me while he's doing that hard labor. I didn't realize how hard the labor was. And just saying, baby, we're gonna have this. You're gonna have this one day. This is gonna be yours. And in my mind, I'm just thinking, I got my little house and my daddy's putting carpet in this big house. And I think why Atlanta was so important to me was because there's so much roots in Atlanta. There's so much texture and vibration in Atlanta. There's such a heartbeat in Atlanta. My family's from New Orleans, we're from Biloxi. Music just moves my soul. When I came here, so many entertainers and musicians and artists and writers and poets. I mean, people were speaking words like it was a song. And I was like, what is that? I had never experienced that before. And for me, I knew Atlanta was a good jumping point to get me wherever I wanted to be in the world. But I had to start here.
And would you say, like, when looking at the development of your art, do you feel like it's a world art or a local art, or is it restricted to a certain region in regards to your approach and your output?
I think it's interesting because when I was in college, I was told I used too much color, but that was kind of what was inside of me. That's what I knew. When you go to New Orleans, all you see is colors, like boom, boom, boom. You see people, you see color, you don't see, flesh. You see music and vibration, and that's kind of how I see life. And I held back a little, but in holding back, it taught me new ways to express myself. So now I have this dynamic way of being able to show off my talent either in color or with the absence of color. I can use pen to paper, I can paint with a brush, I can sketch. I actually used to do sculpture. I can do so many things with my hands, and I think that's great because growing up in Mississippi, we did everything with our hands. You know, so I think that that has actually helped me grow my talent and my creative energy.
How do you feel about the business of art in Atlanta?
I think we still have, I see some great leaps and bounds. But I've been in the business for over 20 years now in Atlanta. So I see some great leaps and bounds, and I see them happening now, and I finally see people, especially artists, connecting to each other and coming out of their studios. Instead of, there was this time when Atlanta artists were all kind of hiding and kind of waiting for someone to discover their gift and waiting for that one person, and most times it would be that one attorney that was like, would you do this art show in my building? You are good. Or would you come do this at my banquet or at my child's school? Or would you do this for my corporation, my company? Would you show off your gift? And it was great. But what I think has happened is there is so much rich, vibrant artistry in Atlanta that there's still some of us still in our studios. And it's up to us to pull them out. There are artists I know who've never shown their work, and they are incredible. So with the business of art, it's up to us to try to redefine what art is. Redefine that, yes, it's a luxury item, but it's something that will give you such a memorable and rewarding experience in your home. And it's something that to acquire is not just, I just bought this couch or this pillow. You're actually acquiring the spirit and story of someone who has this amazing way of giving it to you. There's a power in that.
Yeah, I totally agree. Would you say that, like right now, I can list any number of names, right? We've been here 20 years, committed to the game, and it's obvious that we're committed to Atlanta. So 10 years from now, what needs to happen in order for Atlanta to be that New York, that Chicago, that Miami during a certain time of year? What needs to happen in Atlanta?
I think artists need to take back artistry. I think artists need to be more connected to each other. There is a space for each and every one of us in these cities. There's a space for murals to be created all over a city. That's pretty much, if I could think off the top of my head, every artist that I know, and it's still not enough artists to fill walls and spaces. There are teachers that are artists that are needed, that they're pulling those programs out of schools, and we need to say no. You cannot take this from these children and from our youth, because it helps them redefine and support who they are. There are so many initiatives in the restaurant and beverage and corporate business that is all centered in art. But artists have to stand for artists, not just for self. We have to say, we collectively can do this. We collectively can make this project be exactly what you want and more.
Totally good. We're going to take a break for a second, and then we'll come right back, and we're with Monica Tooks, and we're actually in her gallery space. And when we get back, we're going to talk about transitioning from being an artist to an art dealer. All right, so this is Artists We Love, and I'm Okiba, and this is Monica. All right, welcome back to Artists We Love. I'm Okiba, and this is Miss Monica Tooks. All day. So we're in her gallery space, and we're talking about a little bit of everything, from art to art in Atlanta, what got it moving, what's going to keep it moving, and going into the future. So let's talk about your transition from being an artist to now an art dealer with a gallery space.
Well, I think this would actually be my third art gallery in Atlanta, and I've always been a champion for artists, in addition to wanting to have a space to showcase my work. Mostly because I guess that passion inside of me didn't want to wait for someone to tell me that I was good at what I did, or for someone to redefine what I'm trying to get across as my message. If my message is music and jazz and people and connecting, then that's what my message is for right then. If my message is female empowerment, self-love, then that's what my message is right now. And I think that I've always been in spaces where you weren't good enough, or hearing no's. Well, Monica's work is good, but we wish she would do this, or we wish she would do that. And it's just really interesting to me, because when you're trained to do what you do well. And as you evolve, you become better at what you're trained to do. So to redefine who I am as a creator only negates what's inside of me to become greater. So my passion has always been, okay, Monica, if that's how you feel, I wonder if other artists feel that way. I wonder if they're painting for other people and not painting for themselves. I wonder if they're pushing certain messages forward that aren't their message, or not even being painted or photographed or written or spoken the way that they want to speak it. So in opening spaces, I've been always wanting to give artists a chance to be free. Why do we have to be confined to one person who likes or dislikes our work when there's a big world out there? Like, we're just in Atlanta. We didn't have social media. So if someone in Atlanta told me I wasn't great and I wasn't confident, then I'm running back into my studio now and I think I'm nothing. I didn't want artists to be running in their studios thinking they're nothing, when there's talent in there. There's passion in their heart, and I know they're great.
And I love hearing it, because it's just like thinking back on my start. There were a number of galleries who were interested, and like a Bill Lowe, and one of his underling folks was like, oh, we want to show Okiba's work, blah, 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 blah. So when he saw the work, he was like, Okiba's too black. You know what I mean? And I'm from a place where my first choice is me. You know what I mean? My first choice is, oh, I don't need you. You know what I mean? So coming into the art game, I'm coming from a place of I come from a family of entrepreneurs, hustlers, athletes, and Mississippi men who come from a different stock. You know what I mean? So I'm not looking for a gallery to tell me anything. So when a Bill Lowe or somebody else will say I'm too black, I'm like, you're right. My name is Okiba. I didn't just pick this up last week. You know what I mean? But
you're also not defined by your name
at all.
So give me a chance to show you what my brush can speak to you. I think is what's most important.
So in creating the work, what I personally learned was I'll create my own situations, my own relationships, my own galleries, my own this, and also be able to grab other artists and say, hey man, don't sweat what they're saying. Or hey sister, don't sweat, let's go show this work over here. Because really a gallery can be anywhere you move it.
And I think it's important to say too, galleries and museums are built to propel artists. But all I've been seeing is that they propel an artist or a few artists.
Say that one more time.
And then there's all these other artists that come and support, and they genuinely feel great about their one friend or their few friends that were able to finally be seen. And I think it's even more important for us to continue to show our own work in our own spaces, in addition to getting the accreditation that it comes from bigger venues. I think it's important. It's all important. But I think it's all in the delivery. And I think when you only deliver one story, then there's only one book being read. And that's always been something I've struggled with, and always something that I've wanted to bring to the forefront. If you could get 10 artists who had the business mind to get their own galleries, and you have 10 galleries now opening that show other artists' works, and we're all working together, we're going to each other's openings, okay, you're showing this artist this month, okay, well I'll rotate and I'll get them this month there's these other guys in Miami, they're dope. We heard about these cats in California, New York, Chicago, wherever. Art is in everything. It's everywhere.
Right.
And when you have creatives kind of in control of that, we're on a pulse of things in a way that we don't even know it sometimes. Or sometimes it hits me like leaps and bounds, knocks me over like a boulder sometimes when I have a feeling or a passion about something. And I think once artists start to kind of take control of that, we can tell the story a little different. And we can tell, you can read more than one book.
Right. So that's your other gallery, was it in Castleberry?
On Peter Street, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
I remember that. I had a flashback because, you know, all the miles and the years kind of add up.
Great time in Castleberry. Yeah. Great time.
And that was before Castleberry became the it-ish spot. Because I remember when it was a ghost land.
Yes, I was the first space, I think, along with maybe one other space. And then they started to create kind of this wanting to have a space where people could walk and, you know, like New York almost. You could just walk door to door and see great talent and see great art. And every space that opened had really cool stuff. Even the restaurant started to support that goal and that initiative. So now even when you go to eat, there's original art on the walls, and they know who the painter is. They're like, yeah, he's got a studio right up the street. You should go up there. You should call him, or he'll probably be here in a minute to grab some pizza. You can meet him. And I think it just further supports what I'm saying, that when you can open it up to several people that are creative, then you get more stories and more art that can be shown, and more people who can live off of their gift. This is their 9 to 5. This is my 9 to 5.
I'm with you. And that's one of those things that I've noticed is like the business of it. And the more I hear you speak, the more I feel even better about just my vision. Because it's just like and when I say mine, I'm not just saying mine, but I'm saying my vision as a whole is that the business of art, I've been blessed to be able to, we can use the word blessed or whatever the word is. I've been blessed to be able to have a certain business IQ. You know what I'm saying? While a creative IQ. And one of the things that drive me crazy is when I see Atlanta. I left Atlanta for about 8 years because I got sick of the business of black art. So I said, okay, I'm gonna go conquer New York. I'm gonna go Cali. I'm gonna go and that whole deal. And then I came back to Atlanta because I did well and I did my thing, but I came back to Atlanta because I realized that Atlanta has fertile ground for you to do whatever you want to do without any barriers, with an exception of as long as you can bring money to the table, you can get it done. And as I hear you speak more and more about it, I feel really good about just being able to sit here with you. You know what I'm saying? And be like, okay, so the next wave of this thing, 2016 and 10 years, because 10 years from now, we are the group, we're the group that's going to really make Atlanta what it's supposed to be.
It's a grassroots effort. I mean, I remember when I opened my first gallery, it was hard to find artists that were ready if I did showcase their work and there was a collector that came in and I want 15 paintings from this artist. Can I visit their studio? Can I do this? And that artist may not have been prepared for that type of exposure. I realized that was a teaching space for me. Because what's really funny for me is I've always had little businesses. Like growing up, I used to sell po' boys. I used to make Mardi Gras beads and buttons and things by hand. I used to go make little order sheets, put them in the teacher's lounge when I was in elementary school. I didn't realize that was called entrepreneurship. I was just trying to get to my cheerleading competition in Florida. And I was the only young girl who couldn't afford to just do that. I was coming from a single parent household, and I had a mother that was a go-getter. We delivered Krispy Kreme donuts in a car with no AC. We got up at 5 in the morning because we knew what time the sun was going to come up so we could deliver those donuts to perfection, because her daughter sold so many donuts that we could barely fit ourselves in the car.
That's great.
But I didn't know that had a name, and that was entrepreneurship.
What we're going to do is take a quick break and everything will come right back. And this is Artists We Love, and we're glad you're here. All right, welcome back to Artists We Love. My name is Okiba and this is Monica, and we're glad you're here. So we are talking about now, where do we go?
Yes. Where do we go from here?
Where do we go from here?
We continue to teach. We continue to inspire. We continue to do and birth ideas that are bigger than just brush to canvas. That's what I feel. I'm only as limited as my opportunities. You give me the opportunity to have a voice or to speak or a canvas or a stage, and there's no limit to the possibilities of what I can do.
That's good. Yeah, so part of what I'm thinking and what I'm seeing is definitely partnerships, relationships, and seeing Monica's business not only as her business but our business.
Absolutely.
So if you have an event, if you have an artist, if you have means to financially support, and also like relationship means, because sometimes it does boil down to saying, okay, you may not have the money to do a certain thing, but you can have a relationship that can help get to the money.
It does.
You know what I mean? So being able to bring that to the table.
Most careers are catapulted that way. Most careers are someone that works in corporate that has a friend that's an artist, and they're constantly trying to find that loophole of how to tell or speak to someone and say, this guy's really good, or this girl is really fantastic. And once they get there, I think what's important is for artists to be ready.
Right.
So if the opportunity hasn't presented itself yet, go ahead and be ready. Like, that's been my biggest thing. I'm always ready. I've got proposals lined up. I've got, any idea. I have an idea folders because my brain is just constantly coming up with things. Everything isn't always something that I need to do. I go back to that folder sometimes and I think, this artist would be so great for this. There's a young woman right now. She's an incredible muralist. She's also a tattoo artist. I've done one project with her. But that one project, she's always in the back of my brain. And now I have an opportunity for her. And she's the only person I want to talk to. So if she says no, then I'll look for someone else. But that's what we have to do. It can't be a self-serving thing. We have to pull each other up. We have to say, if I've got a space, I still have a certain level of things that I need you to do, because we're a business first, we're artists next.
Right.
When you start to think that way, then you start to create things that give back to you. If you're just showcasing art and nobody's buying anything, then somebody's got to sit back at the table, and there needs to be a table that people are sitting at and having conversations and saying, why isn't art selling in this space? Is it the location? Is it the marketing? Is it the advertising? Do we need to find someone? Do we need to invest in hiring someone who knows how to do this? When I did my first gallery, I had PR people, I had assistants. I had someone come to me and actually say, who's your PR firm? PR firm? What you talking about?
Right.
I didn't have a PR firm. I had a vision, I had a dream, I had a passion, and I wasn't afraid to ask for help. Right. And I didn't necessarily in the beginning seek out other artists, because the artists were the ones who needed the exposure. I sought out business professionals. I took business courses. I did things that exercised the other side of my brain.
Right.
And then you start to think creatively of how to take that and make it into a project that makes money for everyone involved, so everyone can go home and smile and eat and do something with their families.
I got you.
That's what's next.
Okay. Well, that's what's up. So we're closing this out, man. This has been Artists We Love. And check out Monica. What's your website? It's
shopmonicatooksart.com or monicatooksart.com. Tells a little bit more about my work and some of the things I've done with live painting with great jazz musicians and R&B artists and some really cool people, and some youth initiatives. I do a lot with young people. That is a whole other side of me that I can go on and on for days about my passion of connecting youth with the art, through the arts.
Yeah,
and giving scholarships while doing it.
That's cool. Your Twitter?
Twitter is Monica Tooks Art, Instagram, Facebook, Monica Tooks Art.
All right, cool. So y'all know where to find her, and you'll definitely hear more, from Miss Monica. And I'm Okiba. And like I said, this is Artists We Love, YB Magazine. Make sure you subscribe And stay tuned to what's going on in the future, man, because we're about to set this thing on fire.
Yes.
All right. Take it easy, y'all.